Gosh, we have a studio filled with rock and rollers. I can tell these guys were dragsters when they were young.
All set.
Huh? You're all set?
Yeah.
Were you a dragster when you were a kid? Huh? Did you used to burn the rubber and all that?
You talking to me?
I'm talking to you. Huh?
We burn more goddamn rubber than
my God.
than Joe Jesus, I can tell you that right.
The
cops are still chasing us.
I didn't think I'd need the dump button with these three seniors, but oh my gosh. Folks, welcome. We have with us Joe Jesus, who I lovingly refer to as the Dick Clark of New Bedford, along with Bob Bramwell and Joe Barclay. And we're going to talk about why the 50's night has been canceled. First, let me say good morning. Are you feeling well, Joe? Joe Jesus?
Yes. Yeah, I'm feeling fine.
You're feeling fine?
I had a little setback, but, you know, what the heck? I turned 40 and, you know, you turn 40 and that's what happens.
Well, a lot of people were asking, is it because Joe doesn't feel well?
You know, no, absolutely not. What I did, we've held this off up until a couple of days ago. And the reason we did was they were working downtown and they thought that downtown would be all set up to Acushnet Avenue. So I said, all right. So I got a hold of the guys, the car clubs, and I said, meet me down at the Green Bean so we can discuss what we're going to do. Now I've got all the flyers. Everybody's intact. Everybody's ready to go. So at 1 o'clock, we're going to meet downtown. So we get down there, and I look. The first thing I see is, wow. You couldn't even go into the Green Bean. They were closed because the sidewalks, when I say torn up, I mean torn up. They even had a line so you couldn't, you know, go into the sidewalk. Then Bob Bramwell came. Bobby said the same thing. No way. Joe Barclay came. No way. Johnny Angel came. And we all agreed. There's just no way in the world. You know, there was one article out of all the calls that I got, 99.9 all felt bad. And, you know, asked if we could go someplace else. Well, we tried. In fact, I talked to you on the phone. You know, William Street. William Street's too narrow. I mean, you know, you'd have to park the car normal, and there's nothing you could really do. Spring Street ends at Acushnet Avenue. What do you do there? Our event has become so big and so popular. And the reason for that is they're coming down for the cars, yes. But I get calls from Washington State, my sister from Arizona, a number of people who want to find out when the car show is going to be so they can come down and visit their relatives. And, you know, and I take that as a great compliment, not only me, but the guys in the club also. Yeah. So when we had to cancel a show, it was really not something that we wanted to do.
It was not easy.
No, and it's nothing. The streets are fairly decent, but the sidewalks are completely torn up. So.
Let me ask you this. Let me go down a list of what people have said why it should not have been canceled. Some said do it up in the north end on the avenue. What's wrong with that?
Okay, I'll tell you what's wrong with that. They wanted to go first. They wanted to go to Buttonwood Park, Brooklawn Park, Hazelwood Park,
Fort Tabor.
Fort Tabor. You name them all. Well, you know what? Those are car clubs. They're not 50's. 50's night. You got to put this in order. 50's night is when I started this. I saw this when I was down in Florida, and I thought, what a great idea. And I owned a peanut shop at the time. 1990 was our first show. We brought it downtown because downtown, Thursday nights, is where everybody went. And what did all the guys do? Thursday afternoon, they were cleaning their white walls, if people know what white walls are, or porta walls, shining their cars, Brill cream in their hair, and Old Spice all over the place, and your shoes were shined, and you go down the street. And back then, and we went downtown because all the girls would get the bus at Merchants Bank or Cherry and Webb, and we'd be checking out all of the girls. And back then, you could stop and say, "Hey, babe, you want to ride?"
Hey, babe.
And you know, and you could do that. You know, today you go to jail, but the memories were there. And when we talk about 50's, We're talking about it. If you go to any of the parks and they have cars, okay, that's a nice car show.
Right.
When you talk 50s, you're coming downtown mainly because you're going to see people you haven't seen, not from high school, but from the neighborhood.
Yeah.
You're going back many, many, many years. You're bringing your grandkids or your great-grandkids or
Right.
whatever it is. But everybody is going down there and they're seeing people they haven't seen in so many
Sure.
years.
Let me just let the audience know if you have any questions that you would like to ask Joe Jesus, Joe Barclay, and Bob Bramwell. I want you to give us a call at 508-996-0500. 508-996-0500. Somebody asked, why not do it in September or later on in the year?
Well, September already, kids are starting to go back to school. When we do you got to realize 50's night is a family type night. We do absolutely no advertising. If you looked in the Coastin or Insider, you never saw one ad about the 50's night. Nothing. So people are all set for our 50's night and just waiting for the one ad that we put in the paper.
Well, let me ask you this. September's still warm. Even October is still warm. How about if you moved it to a Saturday, if you're worried about kids? But it's not a late event, so it really wouldn't affect kids, Joe.
No. We're just looking at, we've done it this 29 years. 29 years.
I see the old stubborn Joe Jesus.
No, that's the Portuguese coming
That's
out.
the Portuguese. Joe Barclay, Bob Bramwell, you both have beautiful, beautiful cars. What are your thoughts on what's happened here? Joe Barclay?
I'm Joe Barclay from Mass Corvette Club. It's something that I've established with a group of guys that own Corvettes, and that's our specialty. I have two of them. I have another old car, 1967, and I'm proud that I've kept it all these years.
Mm-hmm.
And I just had it partially restored, and I should be completed by next year. So those are my interests in cars. I'm not...
what are your thoughts about the cancellation of this event?
Oh, well, it kind of hurts, but you have to do what is right. And looking over the city streets over the last 2 months, the city is busy. I'm sure they're working very hard. Sidewalks, curbs, wiring, piping.
Yeah.
There's tremendous stuff down there
Yeah.
to be done yet. And I myself was concerned about the safety of the public.
I saw some posts and they were hammering Mayor Mitchell. I thought that was so unfair, so out of, that just does not sit well that you'd hammer the mayor for this. What are your thoughts about that, Joe?
No, listen. The event is Joe Jesus 50's night. And I got the 3 car clubs that come down and work with us. The city supplies all of the staging and, the barrels and everything else. That's what the city does for us. And we have no problem with that. To slam the mayor, this is not a city event, so don't slam the mayor.
So did they try to help maybe relocate your event?
Well, no, again, many, many people, including the city, Buttonwood Park, Hazelwood Park, listen.
But you didn't want to. All right. No, I understand.
It's a club show.
Yeah.
A 50's night is 50's night.
Yeah.
You can't say that basically they're same. They're completely different. But there's no reason to slam anybody because the guys downtown, construction workers, have been doing the best they can do.
Mm-hmm. I'm getting messages. Why not September, October? Why not in May? But...
No, May is for 29 years we've had the same event. July, always the third Thursday in July. And if you go
you
back,
want it that way.
Yeah, and if you go back, Phil, nothing was ever done on a Thursday night until I started Thursday nights 29 years ago. Everything was done on a Friday night, a Saturday night, or a Sunday afternoon.
No, I understand.
And then, I guess maybe 20 years ago or so, then Ha Ha came, and I helped Ha Ha just to push them along, we had a 50's night on their night to give them a boost. Because 50's night is about paying it forward, helping anybody and everybody we can.
Your buddy's next to you, Joe. He has his fists are clenched. Does that mean anything, Bob?
No, I just, people take everything, for granted. And there's a country song for everything. And I got a buddy of mine, he's in a country band, and he's got me hooked on this. I used to listen to Led Zeppelin and, the rest of the Fleetwood Mac, on and on and on. We love music. We love cars. But this 50's night, it was always on Thursday. When I was at New Bedford Vogue way back in the 60s, we used to talk about going down Thursday night. If you weren't down there, there was something wrong with you, okay? But it went through the whole school, how that went in high school. And Joe's right. I mean, to move it to some other area, it's not going to be the same. And you can't rush the workers. It's unsafe, and there's no way. It's an accident waiting to happen. As far as moving it to another month, our car clubs, we got all kind of things scheduled. We put this thing on the map before we even start our summer schedule. But we're busy in October. We're busy in September. We're all over the place. Yep. It's not like you can just say, okay, well, let's do it on some other month. It don't work that way. But the reason it keeps going is Joe. He puts his whole life into this thing.
I know he does.
And it's all year he works on this. We do car events. Listen, it's not easy to pull this off, okay? But the reason why it gets pulled off every year, it's Joe. We're just helping him out. That's all we're doing.
Bob, you bring up a good point, and I want to bring this up. So many people have asked, do you want help that somebody else takes over and then you are the master of ceremonies, more or less?
If anybody was going to take over, it'd be the car clubs, nobody else. And I'll tell you why. Because we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
If I ask Bob or Joe or John a question, I'll get an answer off the shoulder.
Yeah.
There won't be no BS in here. It'll be strictly. We turn this over to anybody. I don't care who it is. Everything's going to change. Many times, many years ago, I used to have a committee.
Yeah.
And I stopped with a committee because if this guy didn't like that guy, this was wrong, that was wrong.
You had a lot of personalities.
And it wasn't going to happen. And then a month before the event, I'd ask everybody, okay, what have you got? And everybody had the same thing. An excuse. So then I just shut it all off. And did I go nuts doing it? Yeah. But what got me through it? A lot of prayers. And if you pray, you have to believe. And I believe and I pray. And I got together with Bob. I met Joe. I met Johnny Angel. And this came all together.
But I remember, was it 2 years ago, you were so stressed out that you had a heart an episode.
2 years. No, I had 2 heart attacks.
2 heart attacks.
3 years ago.
And you drove yourself from 50's night to the hospital. I couldn't believe it, Joe. I mean it.
Makes us feel we're not doing enough to help him out, but we are.
No, listen.
Bob.
I was upset because he drove right by my motorhome. I says he didn't even stop. Doesn't he care?
But
he was having a heart attack. I didn't know that.
The point.
No, you know why I did.
I said, why did he stop? Phil's here too,
Do you want that help, that support? That's what I'm asking.
Well, what took place that day, Phil? That night, I didn't want an ambulance coming down the street and ruin the entire event. So.
Oh, my gosh. Listen to this. The phone lines are all lit up. Let's take some. We'll take them in just a minute, folks. Joe Jesus joining me along with 2 of, these car groups, ladies and gentlemen, are just spectacular. Bob Bramwell and Joe Barclay join us. 50's night has been canceled. What do you think, folks? Folks, if you'd like to say good morning and thank Joe Jesus for all of the years, how many years now you've been?
29 years this year.
29 years.
Sure.
Unbelievable. And, a man of the year and man of our hearts. Let's take some phone calls at 996-0500. Joe Jesus is accompanied by his bodyguards, Joe Barclay and Bob Bramwell. Bob, you haven't punched anyone lately, so no. All right.
No, I'm going to be 70. I got to back off on that.
Caller, good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Yes, good morning.
Yes, Joe, I was kind of surprised about not changing the venue, which I can understand why. But, see, I got my license in 1975, and you know what my cruising area was? Was the beaches and the north end on Acushnet Avenue, because downtown was a ghost town back in 75.
So you're saying do it along the beaches or where?
Yeah, either one, either the beaches or north end of Acushnet Avenue.
Oh, I gotcha. So what do you think of that idea?
50's night is all about downtown Bedford.
All right.
If you were around in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, you would have seen what downtown was like. Now, everybody went downtown, and back then in the 50s, everybody took buses. All right? Very few women, girls had a license. It was all guys. So the event, when you went downtown, it was basically the guys looking at all the girls.
You don't want to move it.
Now, Friday night was the north end and the south end of Cushing Avenue and South Water Street. And Saturday nights was theater, auto theaters, and everything else.
Right.
So, no, when you start doing stuff like that, you got to realize you don't have enough room to put bands in. You're going to go in one straight long line. When we have a 50's night, we start at Pleasant Street and we go down beyond Johnny Cake Hill.
Both sides.
Plus, Pleasant, Purchase, North 2nd, South 2nd, Cushing Avenue, Barker's Lane, and Custom House Square.
Yeah.
Now, it's actually one big square unit. And any place you go, you'd have a band. If you try to put it on a straightaway, you're only going to have one band because the other band would interfere.
We've got to give you your own radio show. You know that, right?
Yes.
All right. Caller, you're on with Joe, and Bob.
Buenos dias. Gracias, Jose.
Hello.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
What did you say? I was speaking when you were talking over me. I didn't hear what you said.
About what?
I just wanted to get out my gracias, Jose, for his work in the 50's night, and I would encourage whatever can be done to continue it, regardless of location. I was looking forward to coming this year. This is Ferris Freud checking in from the Vineyard.
What was your first car, Ferris?
I got to say that it was a jukebox transmission, Plymouth Valiant. How many remember the jukebox transmission, the push button? But let me ask you about, Joe, how you went around the back of that 56 Chevy and took your hose and stuck it in there. And where did you put that in the 56 Chevy? Where did the gas go in?
Aha.
Oh, behind the plate.
Behind?
Tail light.
Left tail light.
Tail light. Yeah, the tail light.
Oh, the tail.
Not the plate. Who said plate?
Well, I did.
Right.
Wait a minute. I thought.
Who said behind the plate?
No, the
It's the
tail light.
You go to the left turn signal tail light. And you twist that sucker, right?
That's right.
Oh,
Okay,
my
now, here's
gosh.
something else that's right.
Quickly, Ferris. You're pushing our buttons here. Quickly.
That's the reason for talk radio. But I will come to this event if you can get it rescheduled. What is this about dust? I work construction sites all the time. Dust control is easy.
We're not talking. That's
about
what
dust.
somebody came and said.
I said that.
Dust. Yeah, and no.
Some idiot said that it was a dust problem. Why do you have so many idiots up there?
Every one of the car owners told me they don't want the dust from the environment to get on the car finish. All right?
Let's get it out.
And that's what they told me.
Who told you that?
There was a couple of them.
Yeah.
I got guys won't take it out if the pollen count is high.
If the pollen count
But that's
is high,
not the reason this has been canceled. You're getting off the
it's
wrong
the
track.
safety. It's the safety.
Walk down there.
Right. It's
Take a trip down there today.
It's the safety factor of people stumbling on the sidewalk and whatnot, right? Right. So, okay. So we have now another caller here. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi.
Hi. Well, with not having the 50's night this year, I think next year we're going to even appreciate it even more.
Thank you.
right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
very
you for
much.
that comment. Let's take another one here. Good morning. You're on the air. Hi.
How you doing, Phil?
Doing well.
This is Johnny Angel.
Hi, Johnny.
Hey,
All
John.
right.
How
Good
come
morning,
you're not
John.
here?
I couldn't get there, but hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
That's
and
right.
This year, it's definitely a safety issue for the people, and with the people with the cars down there, the dust and the windows open and stuff. It just doesn't fit this year. Next year, like the lady just said, it'll be great, and people will appreciate it.
Yeah. No, that's what somebody told me. They have all that dust going in there on the seats and on the dash, and they didn't want that.
And that's not even true.
But
the streets are in fairly decent shape. It's
but
the
there is a lot of
sidewalks.
dust.
Oh, yeah, there is.
Yeah.
But our main concern is the sidewalks and the people,
Yeah.
the safety of everything.
So, Johnny, thank you for that.
Good man.
You're
You
a
guys
good
are all
man.
Great.
You are
All
too.
right.
Thanks, John.
Yeah.
Johnny Angel, who's always there. Is that your competitor, Bob?
No, he's like my older brother.
I love him.
And
We're all
we
brothers.
schedule
I know
events
it, Joe.
opposite each other so we
Yeah.
don't conflict.
But you're a DJ now too, right?
I'm over at Coldstone tomorrow night, so
All right. Joe, where are you?
Oh, I float with all these guys. I promote Corvette shows.
Okay.
Next week I'll be in Rhode Island.
Yep.
We'll
yep.
have 2 shows in Rhode Island,
right.
and one of them is with a big dealership.
All right. We'll take a couple more calls before we take a break here. Good morning, and thanks for calling in.
You're very welcome. I rushed back here to get to talk to Joe. This
Joe.
is Dirty Deb. I saw Joe, and there ain't nothing wrong with him. He doesn't need a doctor. That guy had more women swarming around him than you could shake a stick at.
Why is that, Dirty Deb?
I couldn't hear you. Go ahead again. I couldn't
Why-
hear you. I got a fan on. Go ahead.
Why is it that women swarm around Joe
I've got a
Jesus?
picture of him in my office here. It does not do him justice. That guy is one fine-looking man.
Holy mackerel!
All right,
Wow.
I got to rock on. Hey, where's Jim Casey?
I don't
That's all
know.
you're missing.
I don't know, but I've never seen Joe Jesus blush like this.
Yeah,
Hey, listen, the
It's
check's
the
in the
magnet.
mail.
The chicks-
he's got that magnetism.
Thank you. Is that what it is? Hello, you're on with Joe, and Bob.
Yes, hi. How you doing?
And we're doing well.
My first car, 1948 Plymouth.
Wow.
And who can remember driving by the Star Store windows? Because if you drove by those windows, you could look in the windows and see your car.
That's right. That's right.
Oh my good,
You're
the
absolutely
reflection.
right.
Oh my God,
Terry and Webb, Star Store, you're absolutely right.
good memory.
Very
Nice.
disappointed, but I understand it's your deal, and you manage it very well for the last 29 years.
I
So.
appreciate that. Thank
But we
you.
did have, a lot of the north end. You couldn't park in front of Brooklawn Park on a good night. There was no spaces there.
Yep.
But we would take the cruise. We would go down to the Howdy's Beef Burger,
Oh,
then go
yeah.
downtown, then down the south end to the Beef Burger down there, and then park in the diner parking lot for a while.
There you go. Sit on the hood or what?
I wouldn't sit on the hood.
Okay.
I would lean there.
Lean against it. Look
Yeah.
cool. Yeah. No, I got you.
And
Yeah.
take care, Joe. Last time
Thank you.
saw Joe, I was in the most dangerous spot in New Bedford. I was standing between Joe and a microphone.
that's dangerous.
Thank you for the call.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
What a pleasure. You see how much people love you, Joe. Good morning. We'll take one call before we take a break. Good morning.
everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I just wanted to say that I have been going to 50's night since year one. I think it's a great family event. Certainly going to miss it this year, but I'm very happy to hear that Joe is not sick.
You see?
That was my first thought.
Yeah.
I will certainly be there next year.
That's
Thank you
good.
very
And I
much.
know Joe will too.
Are you?
will.
Can I ask you? Are you part of the Joe Jesus fan club?
I certainly am.
Okay. That's all.
I see him down at Market Basket.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, darling. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so
care.
much. Bye. Do you have a comb in your back pocket or over here? Huh?
No, but I got a DA.
I do want to know. Do you use Brill cream?
No, I used to.
You used to. All right.
But you know, it's funny because when we first started the show years ago, on your birthday, what did I give you?
Brill cream.
Old Spice.
Old Spice. That's right. It was Old Spice. Well, oh my gosh. We'll be right back with Joe Jesus. We have a cancellation this year, folks, for the annual 50's night celebration. That was a signature event for families in New Bedford. Joe Barclay, Bob Bramwell, we'll all be back in just a moment. Please don't go away.
Yeah, that was good. That was good.
I'll tell you what, there's no better thing. I think we need to do a podcast, Joe Jesus.
That'd be fantastic.
You know, just rock and talk with JJ. All right?
That sounds fantastic.
JJ used to be a very famous name on the radio back when we had DJs, you know. This is JJ Jesus. do a little, you know, if you were on the radio, do a little intro to, let's say, I don't know, a song, your favorite song. Do a little intro like you were on the radio. Ready? Come on, Joe. Come on, ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I think if we was going to start talking about music, 50s nights, not 50s nights, just 50s music, you got to realize all the songs back then were all slow songs.
He avoided me, Joe. Did you notice how he did that?
He's all romantic. He likes to hold the woman close and
Can't
dance.
you do a wolf man? You can do a wolf man.
Oh, I can't do a wolf man.
What can you do?
I can dance.
I know you can. I know you can. Hey, caller, nice to have you with us.
Hey, Joe.
Yes.
Bobby, how you doing?
Good.
Listen, I just want to call in and give you my support for your decision. I understand it, and there's nothing like the 50s night is downtown. That's where we started, and that's where it all happened. So I just want to call you and say, listen, I support the decision, and you're doing a good job, and you can't move that anyplace else other than it's going to be Joe Jesus 50 night.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I lost some weight because I wanted to put on my T-shirt that says Joe Jesus 50 night. And I got somebody coming up from Miami that comes up here purposely to see this, but it's going to cost me money now because I'm going to have to take them out to dinner someplace instead of going downtown and having a hard time.
You bring up, Bob, you bring up such a great point. People come from all over for this. It's a signature event. It's a destination event, meaning people come here for that, as you can tell from the phone call here.
Yes.
Right, that's it's all about. Downtown, and that's where it's got to be. And Joe's the only one that can get as many people as down there, more than any politician. The only guy that gets more is a man that's in Washington right now, Trump. But
he just called me and told me he couldn't make it. So.
Well, I know. Listen, he's doing a good job over there with the NATO. So
thank you so much.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you.
Thank you, buddy. Well, you see, so there's no chance, is that the final word, no chance of having it this year?
I don't think so. You know, like I
well,
said,
that's not a definite no, then.
No, well, I got to check again with the car clubs, and like Bobby said, you know, everybody is...
What?
I got an idea.
The light bulb
this
just
should
went
be
off.
the air, but I'll throw it out.
All right.
Instead of having a 50s night, when the roads are all done, the sidewalks are all squared away, maybe we could just drive around like we used to. Not a big deal. Just bring the cars and drive around downtown like we used to on Thursday night, and we can still check out the girls. No bands, no stress. There you go.
Just look at the girls. Come on down.
I got guys coming from Maine. They used to come down. Listen, we have people coming from everywhere.
Oh, no. Hey, that looks, I can
That's
see
an
it
easy one.
See it in my head.
But you know, it took place, though. We'd come down Purchase Street, and we would always want the cops, toy fair. We would always want him to stop us on William Street so we could check the girls on each side of the street.
That's right.
And then we go up Union Street, then take a left on Pleasant.
Oh, my gosh. That reminds me.
Do that again.
Hey, listen, guys, listen to this.
The girls are 70 and 80, but they're girls.
I may get thrown off the air for this, but I have a story about the girls and the cars, but hold on. The Massachusetts Department of Conservation and Recreation has officially reopened the day use area of Horseneck Beach. All right, so they have officially reopened it. You can drive out there now. They had it closed down this morning. So there was a parking attendant who would collect the fees at Horseneck Beach for parking, right? It was $10. And he was telling me that a car full of girls drove up. He says all of them were gorgeous. And the driver, he goes up and says it's $10, and she goes, oh, would you let us go by this once, and winks her eye. He says, I can't do that, you know. Everything is on camera up there. So she looks up, and she happens to take her finger and kind of like drop her top a little. Joe, you like this, huh?
I go, nice story.
And she says, "Can you give us a little break?" And she kind of like, makes the motion. She says, "What do you think of that?" He says, "Here's what I think of that. It's $5 for that one, $5 for that one. It's $10, lady." 99605 at Horseneck Beach. $10. Hello?
That was worth $10.
That was worth $10.
Morning, Mr. Jesus.
Yes.
Mr. Jesus, I have a question for you. I believe you used to run a peanut shop downtown, corner of Union and Purchase. Is that right?
I did. I had it on
Did you run the one also that was on the corner of Williams and Purchase?
Yes, and I moved it from William Street because I owned a Bristol building. So I brought at one time I had them both going, but it was just too much back and forth with the two of them. So I closed William Street. Now William Street, the peanut shop started back in somewhere around 1933. So
on Williams.
Yes, and when I
a long time.
Yeah, when I closed it in 15 years ago, there was only 5 left. I think 4 or 5 left in the entire country.
Mr. Peanut, yeah.
Yeah. It was.
Well, I know you did. You opened the business to make money, of course, but I just want to express my appreciation for you having that place there and the time you put into it, because that's one of the fondest memories I have of the Purchase Street area.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.
This is what Joe Jesus has been responsible for. Great memories, a beautiful feeling about hometown.
Yeah.
To do that, to be kind of like the lightning rod of all that, is so very important. And the words don't even express the appreciation we have for you, Joe. Let's go back to our phone lines, 9960500. Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a little bit younger, I think, than you fellas, but we used to go down on Thursday. I remember we used to all meet and go to the stores. We walked around it was Thursday night.
Yeah.
And we'd buy clothes at Pat McKenna's and all them stores down there.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I do like the 50's night, right?
Yes. Yes.
But I'm afraid that if you stop it this year, you might not put it on again next year.
Yeah, somebody said that too. Once they stop something, it doesn't come back. Is there a chance of that happening?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not. Because you know what? If anything was to happen to me, if I took sick in any way, the car clubs would take it over.
Okay.
And I say the car clubs would take it over because nothing would change. If you look at my flyer in 1990 and you look at my flyer that I had made up last week, the only thing that changes on the flyer is the date and the bands.
That's it.
Nothing else changes.
Thank you, caller.
Thank you. I missed that peanut shop.
Thank you, honey. Thank you.
Bye. And good morning.
Well, I'm glad he charged him. And I want to know. I'm serious. Was that a true story?
It's a true story. Absolutely true.
Are they part of the Me Too movement? Wait a minute. No, I got to ask, how does all that blend into that? That's my only comment. I'm sorry.
Listen, they just reopened Horseneck Beach.
I know. So much for the Me Too movement.
Oh, my gosh.
Bye.
Take care. Hello there. Good morning. At 9960500. Any other comments that you want to say about the cancellation of 50's night?
Joe or Bob?
Well, it's like there's no words to put it. I try to do it, but some people aren't replaceable. This guy's one of them. Okay.
Yeah.
I lost a close friend of mine a year ago, George Alves. He was David Alves' brother. He was one of the nicest guys on the planet. He's going to Portugal. He was on my shooting pool with him every Wednesday. I says, we can replace you. Don't worry about it. You're not very good at pool anyway. He died in Portugal. So the guy on the side of us, if something happens to him, he says, well, the car clubs are going to take over. Listen, things will never be the same if we lose this guy.
That's right.
That's the only way I can say it.
Yeah.
He puts his whole life into this. And a lot of people, you know how people are. They'll say bad things and talk behind people's back. Well, let them try to pull off the 50s night. Nobody else can do it.
I love it.
Thank you, Bob.
There we go. See, that's what you're all about.
But you know what? I never forget where I came from.
That's it. Good. All right, we're going to be right back to wrap things up with the king himself, the real king, Joe Jesus. What do you think? We should have a podcast or some kind of show with Joe Jesus? What do you think, Joe? That would go over, right? Bob?
Yeah, I used to listen to you guys on the radio a couple of years ago.
We got to bring that
I'd
back.
laugh all the way home when I'm driving.
We got to bring it back. Absolutely, Joe. You know?
We should.
Yep.
We should.
9960500. Good morning. We have a couple of minutes left. Good morning, caller. 9960500. Hello there, caller.
Hello there, Bill.
Hello.
Hey, Mr. Joe Jesus, I support your decision, and you're a fantastic individual. I know it'll be back next year, and I look forward to seeing it.
Thank you very, very much, Big O.
Thank you.
You were, during the break, saying something that was point on. Joe Barclay, talk about the image, the place itself.
Well, the location that we have the 50 night really does have its own identity from the 50s or 60s. It belongs there.
It belongs downtown.
I promoted car shows in other parts of the city.
Yep.
So does Bob Bramwell.
Yeah.
It's
Fort
not
Tabor
the same.
did a
I
great
do a
job.
lot at Fort Tabor
Yep.
for the
But it's not the same.
Museum. It's not the same.
Yeah.
It's not the same. It's not 50s night.
And you know,
when you take it out of downtown,
yeah,
it's just a car club. It's a car show, I should say.
right,
It's a car
right,
show.
yeah, exactly.
And you can put whatever you
Right.
want. It's a car show.
And folks, the sidewalks are torn up. Joe, you're seeing safety factor, baby carriages, people tripping. You just didn't want to deal with any of that. And that's understandable. The other thing is, I know in years past, you have had to reach into your own pocket.
I did.
Many times to pay for this. Are you still having to do that?
Well, the last time I did was 3 years ago. It cost me $1,200 for the police.
Do you need help raising money?
No, I've got it all set. In fact, I've got Gary's hot dog stand. Gary's paying for the police.
Oh,
last year, I think
wow.
it cost Gary $1,400.
Yep.
The police and the Standard Times are the two big things.
Yep.
If the city wants to come and help in any way, get us all the money. Get us one sponsor like, they do for the fireworks. If we could have one sponsor, and it's under $5,000.
Really?
We do.
That's a bargain.
Under $5,000.
That is a bargain.
6,000 people. That is a bargain.
Yeah.
You betcha. All right, let's squeeze in a couple more calls here. Good morning.
Hey, Phil, I am going to start a GoFundMe, a precautionary GoFundMe page for Joe, because if Dirty Deb ever gets a hold of him, he's going to be out of commission for a long time.
Yeah, I think you're right.
All right, partner, we're going to miss the show, so I couldn't do it. Take care.
Thank you.
Yeah, if Dirty Deb ever... Oh, yeah. Yeah, those purple socks of yours will... Hello there.
Hi, really quick. I just went over to Bourne Bridge. They started it in 1933, and they finished it in 35, less than 2 years. And it's pathetic that downtown sidewalks and those streets can't be done in the amount of time that it's done. And look what it's done to this thing that Joe has done. And it's brought people from other areas into the city. And what are people doing that night? They're not on their cell phones. They're all talking. They're joking around like you guys are doing in there. And it's pathetic that this has been allowed. And the city and the contractors can't. They can do the job, but they're not doing the job. The prevailing wage is ruining a nice night like this. That's just kind of all I've got to say.
All right. Thank you so much for your thoughts there. And, well, you know what? Some people truly believe that, this should have been done a lot sooner. Anyway, hello there. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
To Councilor Brian Gomes.
Hey, Brian.
The man that you have sitting there, Joe Jesus.
Yeah.
Good man. That's a real good man. I've known that man since I was a kid. I went to school with his daughter. And he has been committed and dedicated. And we thank you, Joe. And don't give up. We're on your side. I just heard your scream out for a corporate sponsor, and we're going to try to help you to do that.
Thank
you. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
50's night, I have told you before, I have felt that it should start on Thursday and end on Sunday. And you know I've told you that before, because the crowds of people that it draws, I think it could be something for the city of New Bedford. It has been for the past 20 years and should continue. I understand your cancellation and why you're canceling. The cars are beautiful. Those the dust and everything that's around. It's kind of an unsafe situation also to have everybody down there walking all over them sidewalks, not done, not completed. Joe, we're on your side. Thank you for everything you do, and look forward to working with you.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you very much, Brian. I appreciate that.
We'll have that as the last word of not only appreciation and gratitude, but words can't even begin to measure the love and the true thanks we have to you, Joe Jesus.
Thank you very much.
And if you don't want it there, damn it, it ain't gonna go there. Joe Barclay, you have about 10 seconds for final thoughts, you too, Bob, and then we'll have Joe
We'll
finish
be back next year, bigger and better than ever, and the streets will even look great.
There you go. All right. Bob Bramwell?
Well, you don't know what you're going to miss until it's gone.
Oh, I like that. Hey.
That was that country song I was thinking about.
That's right.
That's
the truth, man.
Yep, yeah, absolutely. Joe Jesus, wow, I'll tell you, when you called me and said we're canceling, my heart dropped. But you know what? We do have so many people around here who are just so grateful for every single year, 29 years, for bringing life to the downtown, for what you've done for us before that as a businessman, you and your gorgeous wife and wonderful family. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's been a lot of fun. You want to remember the good old days, and you can't even bring them back, but the memories will be there forever. And people come down for that one big reason. Seeing people they haven't seen in years, people coming from out of state. It's just totally incredible how well this has gone.
Oh, yeah.
In the beginning, it was very tough. When I sat down with these guys from the clubs to talk about we having to dismiss this for this year, cancel it.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the results have been, very understanding, and we appreciate that. And if there's anybody that wants to see what the downtown looks like, take a trip down on Purchase Street and see what it looks like.
Absolutely right.
And with that, I want to thank everybody, really everybody, for all of their great thoughts, and I will be around next year. I have no intention to leaving.
Thank you, Dick Clark. Thank you. In fact, here's Dick Clark right now. That's the voice of Dick Clark. And Santo and Johnny as we end off this segment with Sleepwalk.
Oh, yeah.
You're listening to 1420 WBSM. That's what I wanted you to do. Say, this is WBSM. DJ Joe Jesus. We'll see you Sunday. Thanks, everybody. God bless.